Plotter Depot, here to answer some of your most frequently asked questions. I field these questions pretty much every day, so this video is just an attempt to give more knowledge so that the questions can be answered more quickly in case I'm not at work. My film is bunching, and the most important thing to take note of here is where the film is bunching. The first one is that you are trying to cut outside of a roller. So right here, you'll see it bunches up the film, and then the pattern is unusable. That's because there's not tension on the other side of the roll, so when it tries to cut, it will cut outside. So the way that we fix that is just moving it over, making sure we're inside, and then we get our nice clean pattern. The second place that it might be bunching is at the wheels. If it's bunching at the wheels, I recommend just taking your tension screws out, especially for tint. The tension will be too hard, and basically it can also make your film walk from side to side because the tension's uneven. And these screws can be tightened. You might want to keep them for TPF or vinyl. I will usually take them off and just stick them on the side in a Ziploc bag and some tape. If it is bunching at the blade, but the blade is inside of the tension, then chances are your blade is out too far, and you need to reduce the amount your blade is out. As I showed in a previous video, you don't need a whole lot of blade to get really, really good cuts, really clean cuts. The more blade you have out, the more likely you are to be affected by what is called blade offset. And that's when the plotter is moving, the blade will effectively get tugged just the slightest bit out of the holder or not spin around fast enough, and that's when it will tear the film rather than cut it. We can help offset this by reducing the amount of blade and upping the force and slowing down the plotter as well. My plotter is stopping mid-cut. This is 95% of the time or more a static issue, and so what is going to happen is most likely the plotter is not correctly grounded anymore. The first and most important one is coming all the way around, and you will see a yellow and green wire coming off the back of the plotter. We want to make sure that we take this and connect it off to the side on the stand. This helps divert the static away. Sometimes you'll see people putting it to the front foot. This just keeps the static more in the plotter. If you want, you can also take some sandpaper to ground that down to give it a more bare metal contact, but that is not as crucial. The second one is you want to make sure that you have your static string attached. This one just came off. This is an older one. The modern Workhorses come with a magnetized strip that will go across the back. You'll just feed your film underneath it and you will be good to go. Other best practices involve getting dryer sheets to wipe down your roll. Ceramic rolls in particular tend to carry more static in them than traditional polyester. You just want to do everything that you can to help prevent static building up. I've had static from ceramic shock Graphtex where you'll hear the little ding noise from the USB disconnecting. That means that you're experiencing static and it is scrambling the signal. So what that'll do is there is a small amount of RAM on the motherboard. It'll hold half of that pattern and then stop midway because it doesn't have the rest of the pattern. My plotter is cutting through the film in some places and barely scratching on others. This most likely comes from either chipped blades or gouged cut strips. Typically want to replace all of them at the same time just to basically start back at zero. You may also need to recalibrate your blade and plotter to adjust for any differences. We are trying to cut through something that's as thin as a human hair, so every little bit will matter a lot. In terms of maintaining this, typically plotters will maintain their calibration if you set it up properly the first time, but a lot of the times people will have their blades sticking out too far or the force too high. And I have seen people chip a blade in the first 2 minutes because their pattern went off the film, came back, and chipped the tip. Like I said, if you're trying to cut through something as thin as a human hair, every little bit will matter. So if this starts to happen, you can try to just remove the cover tape, flip and rotate your cut strip to basically reverse the entire direction that it was and reapply cover tape or Teflon tape. This is only a stopgap. This is not something that will last you a very long time. You need to order replacements as soon as possible, but this will allow you to get a few more jobs done while you wait for your delivery. When you take out the cut strip, you're going to make sure that it is clear of any debris. You can use some isopropyl alcohol to clean out any leftover adhesive, and then you will put back the cut strip and then you will apply your cover tape over it. You can use Teflon tape, you can use painter's tape, you can use duct tape. The biggest thing is making sure that you are consistent with what you use, because your cut strip and your blade depth will change based on the thickness of the tape and the pressure that you're using. So like I said, if it's cutting through in some places and not in others, it is almost always a gouged cut strip or a chipped blade, or the calibration of the plotter slightly off. You may need to even change your settings some to make sure that everything is back where it's supposed to be. It is a pain, but this is the best way to make sure that you're getting consistent cuts. Ideally, once you have it set up properly, it should maintain it and you shouldn't have to do anything to it other than replacing cover strips and cut tape and blades. Question number 4 that I get asked most commonly are, my patterns are too big or too small. This can be a plotter issue, but most of the time it is a pattern issue from the software. The fastest way you can determine if it is a plotter problem or a software problem is to create a 10" by 10" square, printing that out, and then measuring it with your own tape measure. If it comes out 10" by 10", then it is a software issue, not a plotter issue. And when I say it is a software issue, it is most likely the pattern might be slightly off. Some softwares will have more accurate patterns than others, but if that is the case, if it is printing a 10" by 10" square, try calling the software department first. I'm more than happy to help direct you to that. But if you're using core or film and vinyl design, please get in contact with them first, because I'm not going to be able to help you and I'm going to tell you to kind of just do the same thing. And the 5th most commonly asked question that I get is, Film Cut is telling me I'm unauthorized to cut. There can be a few different things that are going on here. One is your payment failed. This is probably the most common one. Sometimes just banks don't want to send the money, or there's just some processing error, but check your subscription online, go to plotterdepot.com, log in, go to your subscription. If you see it's active, the first step that I would do is write down your registration code under Utilities Register Software and take that out and then put it back in. Sometimes this will fix it right away. This seems to happen after Windows updates. We're not sure exactly why it's happening, but that may be the fastest way to get you up and running. If it is still giving you a problem, please feel free to call in. The number is 979-240-7890, and we can get you directed to the software team. They're great. They will get you up and running as soon as possible. In conclusion, these are our top 5 most commonly asked questions. Obviously, this won't cover everything, but hopefully this will be enough to give you at least some more knowledge to be able to troubleshoot if we are closed. Feel free to contact us. The number and my name will be down below. That's all for now. Stay tuned. We will have more videos showcasing the Workhorse 3 and different plotters, the benefits, drawbacks, and other conclusions for them.